industry. Um, and it's just, there's no way around it. It's a major setback in terms of trust at a crucial time. So again, thank you all for spending your time on it. Hopefully we can find a good path forward. From a Bitstamp perspective, I think many of you maybe know us. We're the longest running crypto exchange. We got an 11-year track record. And we like to say we invented the proactive regulatory approach in crypto. We were at least I'm told, the first exchange to ever have a license specific to the crypto marketplace, which was back in 2017. And since then, from our founders onto our current executive team, we've all just indexed on regulation and kind of compliance forward posture, along with safety and security of customers and their assets. And we did that not because we love working with regulators. We just view it as a necessary condition to get to the next level as an industry. It's a necessary condition to broad adoption, and rather than fight it or drag feet or what have you, we just several years ago decided to embrace it and work with it and hopefully try to shape it. And to that end, we've got, in the U.S., we've got a bid license, we've got, MTLs in 42 states. We're a money services business, and we've got licenses around the globe, and very active and aggressive licensing roadmap as well. We, I think, as an executive team, always believed, obviously, that the regulated centralized exchange model would prevail. Doesn't mean there's not also really important spaces and space for DeFi and other really innovative and exciting areas of the ecosystem. But in terms of the basic buying and selling and trading, we just think the centralized exchange model is the safest and the easiest to trust. However, we didn't think we would, end up front and center because of this turn of events, and that's where it really gets dicey. I think I think with FTX, of course, it's easy now to say, yeah, there were a lot of red flags, and what were we all thinking? But I will say, from the very beginning, I personally was shocked that they were, owned by or co-owned by or strongly affiliated with a trading company. That's just, from an exchange perspective, that's just a no-no. And then secondly, how fast they grew also raised a lot of eyebrows with us at Bitstamp, and me personally. Just didn't square with my experience. And then thirdly, as many of you mentioned, I personally think I want to start an index that's like tech company Super Bowl ads. Any tech company that does that in the first 2 or 3 years of existence, should be a giant red flag, and probably correlates well to flameouts.
I want to ask you a question, if you mind, Gordon. Gordon. Bobby, you mentioned a point that everyone could easily say, like, we saw XYZ red flags with FTX. Were they? So my question is, a few questions. Why didn't anyone speak up when those red flags came up? That's question number one. And question number two is, I want to ask you about what's happening at Bitstamp now, because there's a run on pretty much all exchanges, the good and the bad. In the long term, obviously, the bad will not be here and the good will survive. So number one, why didn't anyone speak up on FTX? And number two, how are you guys dealing with the amount of FUD out there?
I think good question on why more people didn't speak up. From an exchange perspective, I agree with what Jesse said earlier. It's kind of tough to pick your head up and start taking shots at a competitor, particularly when you're not inside that company. You don't know for certain what the situation is. It just raises eyebrows or raises questions. However, should there be others in the ecosystem, including analysts and data companies and blockchain analysis companies, and maybe even regulators someday that ask these questions, raise these questions. Yeah, I think more needs to be done, and more maybe should have been done in hindsight. But it is tough as an exchange to just step up and say, "Hey, what's going on over there?" It sure seems weird. The second question was
Sorry,
how
just
we.
quickly before the second question about dealing with the FUD, Chet, you know the report that I sent earlier and you told me not to share till we get more reports? The gentleman is getting more reports. And for team members, please check my DMs on any reports relating to an exchange I'll put in our private group about their withdrawals. I need them ASAP because then we can announce it in the space because we're looking for at least another few reports. So Bobby, while we're waiting for those reports before announcing it, if you can answer the second question about the FUD that you're dealing with right now in bitstamp, must be a pretty stressful time.
Yeah, no doubt. As we look at our exchange, our net deposit withdrawals on the retail side is net positive, meaning slightly more deposits than withdrawals at this moment on Bitstamp.
Hey, congratulations! That's actually a really good indicator. We saw the same on Binance a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that until quite recently, Bitstamp was viewed as a very boring, conservative exchange, and
same for Kraken. Jesse, I promise you, a lot of people were talking negatively about you guys as well. Like, these guys are boring and they don't do much, and they're too strict. And then look at you now, both of you are the stars.
Well, I think it's still early innings to see how this all plays out. But yeah, we would like to think that our reputation and kind of our DNA is playing out and helping us here, and therefore helping us help the ecosystem a bit. But I would say from our executive team's perspective, we kind of always believed this was the end point. We didn't think it would unfold quite this way. But just to finish the question, so from a Bitstamp perspective, we have a very, very active licensing regime. Obviously, all of our customer funds are completely segregated. We also use a third-party custodian. We do think there's potential conflicts with exchange custody. So we custody with BitGo. They're regulated, licensed, qualified. We of course don't ever lend or repurpose funds. Important that everybody knows that. We also, we go the extra mile in terms of we've been audited by Ernst & Young since 2016 annually, globally, from a financial perspective, and we've got ISO designations around our security and operations. Where we are trying to really kind of set an example and hopefully differentiate ourselves a little bit as kind of going all the way on these topics.
Go ahead, Satoshi.
Hey guys, good morning, and thanks Mario for having me on again. I love the topic around exchanges regulation.